Whoa, we got breaking news. Big breaking news, folks. Come on in. Come on in. Barry Morphew. Barry Morphew. We knew this time was going to come, right? Oh boy, folks. Barry Morphew has been indicted in connection with the death of his wife. Come on in, folks. Come on in. Big breaking news. This just dropped just less than an hour ago. We're going to talk a little bit about the case of Suzanne Morphew and Barry Morphew. You know, this guy thought he was going to get away with it, right? So to let some people piling in, we had to do an emergency line live. Not much pre-planning on this one. So for now, we're going to keep his photograph right there. Remember this face, folks. He's apparently being held in Arizona on $3 million bond. $3 million bond for old Barry. You know about this case. I'm sure a lot of you might not. We're talking Colorado. And the way Suzanne's remains were found was very interesting, right? By chance and luck. By serious chance and luck here. I have my coffee ready. Come on in, folks. Come on in. We're talking about the case of Barry and Suzanne Morphew. She went missing May 10th, 2020, or was reported missing. We'll talk more about that in a second. Come on in, folks. Colorado husband Barry Morphew charged with wife's murder 5 years after she vanished. That's what we got. And we're waiting for some news reports. Hopefully we can get something out of this so we can see what's going on. But I felt like this needs to be talked about. A Colorado man, the man you see right there, that guy right there, a Colorado man has been indicted with his wife's murder 5 years after she disappeared. And 4 years after he was previously charged with the crime. Oh, you know about this case. We're going to keep this photo up. Waiting for the mugshot to drop, the new mugshot. You know, that mugshot that was going around, he had the COVID mask and everything like that. I'm sure he's going to get another one. Arizona do not play when it comes to mugshots. You will get the mugshot. We'll get the mugshot. We'll share the mugshot. Suzanne Morphew, who you see in the photograph here, she was 43. She was reported missing on May 10th, 2020. After she went for a bike ride, but never returned to her stunning mansion in rural Maysville, which is 150 miles from Denver. This is good news. Her husband, Barry, 56, you know, he was like, what, like 13 years or something older than her. He has now been indicted, ladies and gentlemen, with first-degree murder and was taken into custody in Arizona on Friday, today. So I wanted to share this because we've made quite a few videos talking about this. Now I'm trying to read some information to find out specifics because I'm learning as much as you. Here he is, Barry. Oh, Barry. We'll keep his photograph right here. Barry. Barry has been indicted for first-degree murder. He is being held on $3 million bond. Barry denied all knowledge of the killing, but was quickly named the prime suspect, and he was charged with her murder. But, as you know, prosecutors' initial case against Morphew collapsed over claims a district attorney had withheld information from the court and also talked to true crime prosecutors. But the case was revived in the fall of 2023 after Suzanne's remains were finally found in a remote area near the town of Moffat. The couple at the time were going through one of these crazy marriages, with Suzanne having an affair and Barry accused of being an abuser. They do have daughters. Now, it's going to be interesting because the daughters, remember, the daughters were like by Barry's side. There was photographs of the daughters with Barry, supporting Barry. He got $3 million bond, which is shocked. It should be no bond. It should be no bond. Now, they say a presser is going to be happening here. Let's see, the presser. They're going to do a press conference tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, Friday. So we might get some more information about that, right? Remember, the daughters have been defending him. I wonder how they feel about now with Barry. Oh, Barry. Oh, Barry. He tried to move away too, He didn't think justice was going to catch up to him. So a new article is also out. Suzanne Morphew's death. Barry Morphew indicted for first-degree murder. Oh, here he is. Ooh. Old case, though. Just kind of giving you guys a heads up of who this guy is. That was during the COVID era. This was when he was arrested before. So just to fill some people in that haven't been following this case. Oh, Barry, we're going to be seeing Barry again. I'm sure we're going to see Barry again in an Arizona court. Oh, Barry. Barry thought he was going to get away with it. Oh, Barry. Barry thought he was going to get away with it. Oh, sweet justice. Oh, sweet justice. Okay. Remember this? Remember this?
How's it feel to be out, Barry?
You're blue? What color do you want? I'll take it purple. Ooh.
Barry Morphew.
I think we're good.
Arrested.
Yeah. Do you have one? Do you want a purple one? I have one. Thank you. Thank you. Of course you know what's going to happen. There we go. Nice to meet you. Anybody need one? Nope. Good.
We would.
Mr. Morphew, any updates on the search? Are your friends still continuing the search just now?
He ain't trying to find her. This is all old. We're just filling people in. He's been arrested.
Thanks, Barry. Thanks, Barry.
Oh, Barry, you're going to prison for the rest of your life, pal. You might have been able to fool people for all these years. I wonder what his daughters think now of Barry. Oh, Barry. Look at old Barry. Barry Morphew has been arrested, ladies and gentlemen. Justice is finally coming. Suzanne Morphew's death. Barry Morphew indicted for first-degree murder. Means he's going to have to get extradited. It appears he's going to have to get extradited because he's in Arizona. He was taken into custody in Gilbert, Arizona, according to records. He will be extradited to the San Luis Valley to face charges. Alamosa, Colorado. A grand jury returned an indictment this week charging Barry Morphew with first-degree murder in connection with his wife, Suzanne Morphew, whose remains were found October of 2023. That's when we did a live talking about her remains when they were found. There will be a press briefing 8 p.m. with additional information. Now, remember this case. I'll just remind people that are in this chat. I'm reading some of the reports here, but I want to keep you up to speed. I want to give you the correct information. Barry Morphew. Oh, they ain't playing with this dude. And then he's talking about all kinds of civil litigation and all kinds of nonsense. What a ridiculous crock of crap. Justice finally being done or in the process. You know, he obviously gets his due process and all that, right? Suzanne Morphew was last seen on Mother's Day 2020. She lived in Maysville with her husband, Barry, and their 2 daughters, Mallory and Macy. Wonder what Mallory and Macy's feeling about right now. They were sticking by his side, right? She went for a bike ride but never returned home. He was arrested and charged with first-degree murder in connection with her disappearance in May of 2021. Days before he was set to stand trial in April of 2022, all charges were dropped in Fremont County. After the prosecutor granted, after the judge granted a prosecutor's motion to dismiss the case. During a preliminary hearing in 2022, January, prosecutors with the county's district attorney's office said on the afternoon of May 9th, 2020, Barry Morphew loaded a syringe for a tranquilizer dart, put his phone on airplane mode. Who does that remind you of? Airplane mode. These little sneaky criminals. These little sneaky criminals think airplane mode is going to somehow make them get away with the crime. Brian Kohlberger. That's what I was going to say. You know, airplane mode or turn off. But he turned on his airplane mode. And then he shot his wife with the dart. Boom! He then chased her around the house, hunted her down like a hunter does to an animal until the tranquilizer took effect. That's what the prosecutors are saying. Her body was found in a shallow grave in a remote area far away in October of 2023. An autopsy, remember the autopsy? Once she was found, an autopsy was conducted. And the matter of death was listed as homicide by undetermined means. With a bunch of, these medications I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. But you know what I'm talking about, tranquilizers. Also known as BAM, B-A-M. B-A-M. It's tightly regulated and only sold by one company. The indictment notes that Barry Morphew was the only private citizen living in Colorado with access to BAM. See what I'm saying? Records show no other people or businesses besides the Bureau of Land Management and Colorado Parks and Wildlife purchased BAM prescriptions between 2/17 and 2/20. In a prior interview with 9 News, an attorney representing Barry Morphew argued the autopsy results did not incriminate her client. Yeah, lawyers. So now I guess they have enough probable cause, which we're waiting for the affidavit of probable cause to indict. And they did. They did. They indicted. So that's some new information. Let's scour around. We'll get more on the press conference that's planned for 8 p.m. But we're breaking this across the spectrum. We broke this quicker than an actual news report, like a or dan 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 dan. This is 9 News Denver. We got this pretty good fast. Let's see what the Denver Post has to say. Justice for Suzanne. Now, will his daughters be side by side with him like they were? You saw the daughters. And you know what's crazy about the daughters? Like, they would be seen like smiling, which I don't get. Like, I don't get. Why does the daughters support this guy? Why? How? How? Now, he decided to go to Arizona. We've known he's been in Arizona since her remains were found. And he's also been seen in some bar pics. You see the bar pics out there of this guy? Seen with other women. Husband, this is CBS. Husband of Colorado mom Suzanne Morphew arrested for her murder for the second time. 2 times a charm, folks. Oh, yeah, all that BAM stuff is going to come out. Remember, district attorney filed the motion on his previous case, dismiss without prejudice. You know about that, without prejudice, with prejudice, which means the prosecutors could file charges against Barry Morphew at a later date. This also shows, and this is a reminder, and this goes out to all the criminals out there that might have their cases dismissed. If that prosecution says dismissed without prejudice, you never know, folks, that they could re-indict someone, re-arrest someone, refile charges against someone. And particularly with a crime like this, no statute of limitations. They got all the time in the world to sit back and build the case. Watch the behavior of the subject. Remember, too, the prosecutor had her own issues, apparently. A disciplinary board has recommended this prosecutor be disbarred, or the prosecutor of the 11th Judicial District, Attorney Linda Stanley, for improper statements made to the media during the investigation. Maybe she should have just did what a lot of prosecutors do with the gag order and just shut their mouth. Shh. Right? Shh. Nah, this is a big, big deal, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe we'll go to Colorado. Magnolia, you want to go to Colorado? After the first set of charges were dismissed, Barry Morphew filed a $15 million lawsuit against the 11th Judicial District Attorney's Office, the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, and the CBI, the equivalent to a FBI, it's Colorado Bureau of Investigation. We know about these BIs, TBI, Tennessee, Georgia GBI. I don't even think they got Florida BI. He claims he was wrongfully charged in his wife's disappearance. He did that all as a game, as an intimidation tactic to try to sue all them. But the case was dismissed, of course. Case was dismissed. Let's see what we got. We might have some new info to share here. Yeah, there's actually a News Nation report I'm going to get up here in a second just to kind of fill you in about the why was his first charges dropped. So we'll get that together. And this will kind of give you more insight, more in depth. Because I know some of you are wondering in the chat, why was this dude's charges dropped? Because pretty much had enough probable cause. I mean, right before going to trial, dropping charges against someone. I don't know. Maybe Barry thought he was emboldened to say, oh, I'm going to sue because I have enough. So we're going to get that together right here. Stand by. On Wednesday, the 12th Judicial District Grand Jury returned an indictment charging Barry Morphew with first-degree murder. So we're going to get that together here. I just want to show you something else, too.
Residents of a small town in Colorado are on edge after investigators found the remains of a mother of 2 who went missing 3 years ago. Suzanne Morphew's husband was initially charged with her murder, but those charges were dropped late last year. Now the question is, will he be charged again? Correspondent Brooke Schaefer is live in Colorado. And Brooke, the husband's lawyers issued a statement maintaining his innocence, but people you spoke with in the area are not as sure.
Yeah, Elizabeth, here in Solida, Colorado, this is definitely the talk of the town. Everybody is talking about this case. Even if they didn't know Suzanne Morphew personally, maybe they knew her friends, they saw her around town, and almost everyone has told us the same thing. They think Suzanne's husband was involved in her death.
In the town of Solida, Colorado tonight, speculation is swirling after authorities this week identified newly found remains as those of missing mom Suzanne Morphew. Is her husband, Barry, the prime suspect?
What do you think? Do you think he was involved in this?
I definitely think he had an active part in this. It wasn't foul play. She didn't run away. She didn't go on a bike ride.
We pressed Colorado investigators on whether they were once again looking at Suzanne Morphew's husband, Barry. They declined to answer, only saying they have no new information. At Poncha Market, there's a sign for Suzanne Morphew and talk about her husband, who stopped here days after Suzanne's disappearance. Store owner Shan Hall. He was in here just a few weeks ago.
And one of my employees and I were here working one night, and he came in, and it was just a really uneasy feeling. You know who he is just by looking at him.
Suzanne Morphew disappeared Mother's Day 2020. She went for a bike ride and never came home.
Please, we'll do whatever it takes to bring you back.
Her husband, Barry, was arrested, charged with murder. Prosecutors argued Suzanne Morphew wanted a divorce. Her husband didn't. But right before the trial, prosecutors dropped the charges. Tonight, Barry Morphew's attorneys condemning speculation he is once again the prime suspect. In a statement to News Nation saying in part, quote, "What appears to be the overriding focus is a finger pointing right back where it started 3.5 years ago, a movement to blindly reaccuse Barry for Suzanne's death." Morphew's legal team seeming to insinuate another killer, highlighting other recent missing persons cases and human remains they said were found in the same county as Suzanne Morphew. Colorado attorney Ernest Marquez.
Investigators have even said that at this point they have many more questions than they do answers.
Absolutely.
You would agree with that?
I would absolutely agree with that. If they didn't, then there'd be something wrong. I think it behooves everybody to keep an open mind and not try to focus and fit the facts to point to Barry Morphew.
Prosecutors here in Colorado dropped those charges against Suzanne Morphew's husband without prejudice, which means they could decide to charge him with murder again. Elizabeth?
All right, Brooke, thanks so much. And former homicide prosecutor Matt Murphy is still with us. Why did they drop the charges the first time?
Well, there were accusations of what's called a Brady violation, where essentially the defense came in and said, you have exculpatory information that you have not provided.
But that was it? Just because of that? I mean, it's a pretty big deal to drop your whole case right before it goes to trial.
It's a huge deal to do that. Now, what that evidence was, there was an investigator for the Colorado Bureau of Investigation who let slip at one point. He said that there was DNA found on the glove box of her car that matched a series of sexual assault cases from Arizona and also Chicago. That's a big deal. So by them dismissing the case, what the prosecutors said at the time is they wanted more time to see if they could find her body. Now her body's been found, but there's virtually no chance that they're going to find any sort of useful DNA.
I was going to say, what kind of evidence can be after 3.5 years?
Well, sometimes you get lucky, but for this, her body was, in forensic terms, it's called being scavenged. That means she was in a shallow grave and animals dug her up. So her remains were scattered over a pretty wide area. Chances 3 years later of getting actual DNA linking to a suspect are very slim. Now, given the recent advances in DNA, we're in an era now where they use what's called familial DNA. It's how we got the Golden State Killer, where this person is not in what's called the CODIS system.
You're talking about the person whose DNA is on the glove box of her car.
That's right. So you've got
wanted in sexual assault cases.
Right. So that matches at least 3 other sexual assaults. So they say, but it's only a matter of time, because even if that person doesn't wind up in the CODIS system, if their family members go on like 23andMe or any of those things, they can trace it that way. So I think that person will be identified. Now, that opens a whole new can of worms, because if that person has any legitimate reason for having been in the car, when sometimes that happens, you can find fingerprints or DNA. So this is very much still a mystery. And I think that the last person that we just saw, I mean, that gentleman is right.
The lawyer.
He is presumed innocent. So everybody does need to keep an open mind.
It's interesting
the
that
evidence goes.
both of the victims' daughters have supported their father throughout this process. Those were the two young women you saw walking in and out of court with him. So, wow, to be continued. All right, thanks, Matt. Thanks so much for watching.
All right, so we're going to give that was the.
joinnn.com.
All right, so that was kind of like a background a little bit going back. But now we're here forward today. But you heard Brady violations right before he was going to trial. They dropped the case. Now that prosecutor had some issues herself. And they're claiming that she ruined some other cases too. Now, could that work in Barry's favor now from the old prosecutor? Remains to be seen. But that's probably the defense that he's going to give by saying the prosecutors did misconduct and the prosecutor has a history of misconduct. There is some information about the prior prosecutor in a news report that I want to share with all of you. And I'll get it up here in a minute or two. But going back to his new charges, they're saying on Wednesday, the 12th Judicial District Grand Jury returned an indictment charging Barry Morphew with first-degree murder of his wife. He was taken into custody in Gilbert, Arizona on Friday. So he's arrested. He's locked up. The district attorney's office said it will seek to extradite him back to Colorado. Oh, have fun on that extradition trip through Arizona, through the mountains. Have fun, Barry. Have fun. Those extradition trips suck. You're probably in a cage here, all locked up with other inmates that probably go from jail to pick up people and drop them off. Here's a statement by Ann Kelly, who is the 12th Judicial District Attorney. Federal, state, and local law enforcement have never stopped working towards justice for Suzanne. The 12th Judicial District Attorney's Office stands in solidarity with Suzanne's family and the citizens of the counties in pursuant to the grand jury's indictment. According to the indictment, the El Paso County Coroner's Office conducted the autopsy of Suzanne Morphew's remains. In addition to the standard toxicology testing, the coroner's office conducted additional toxicology testing at the request of law enforcement for the presence of a chemical mixture known as BAM. And there's combinations of medications. Folks, I'm not going to read them. Just look it up. BAM. BAM. The coroner's office determined the cause of death and matter of death is homicide by unspecific means in the setting of this stuff, this BAM stuff. BAM is described as a drug combination primarily used for chemical immobilization and sedation and veterinary medicine, wildlife animals, exotic animals. Investigators did not release details on why the case is now being prosecuted in the 12th Judicial District Attorney's Office. Initially, it was prosecuted in the 11th. So that is a interesting concept too. It's being prosecuted in a different district now. Now it's going to go back to what I'm about to show you when this is ready here about the prosecutor. The prosecutor before was in some hot water. Now I think in defense of Barry, that might help him. And then probably be the only thing that helps the guy. But I'm going to play this clip right here about the former prosecutor, because the former prosecutor botched cases before. So we'll put that information out there and let you see. Stand by.
Controversial district attorney who botched the Suzanne Morphew murder case and whose comments led to the dismissal of murder charges against another suspect is going to lose her job. Thanks for joining us for 4 o'clock at 9 News. I'm Tom Green.
And I'm Kim Christensen. Linda Stanley led the case against Barry Morphew. She faced complaints over her conduct and handling of cases. that have now led the Office of Attorney Regulation Counsel to disbar her. Stanley is the Republican district attorney in Chaffee, Fremont, Park, and Custer County. She led the prosecution of Barry Morphew, who was accused of killing his wife Suzanne in May of 2020. Stanley dropped the charges just days before that trial started. Complaints filed against Stanley accused her of making inappropriate comments to a podcast. They also say she showed up late to court and launched a secret investigation into the judge because she did not like his rulings. A judge in a separate case dismissed charges against a man accused of killing a 10-month-old baby because of comments that Stanley made during an interview with our partners, KRDO in Colorado Springs.
He has zero investment in this child, zero. He's watching that baby so he can get laid. That's it. Without the caring factor, without the love factor, then the baby's a pain in the.
The decision to disbar Stanley refers to her dereliction of duty. It was said that she abused her position of trust and that she must be disbarred. District attorneys are required to have a law license in Colorado. If they lose their law license, another lawyer takes over the office. We've reached out to Stanley's office for comment. We haven't heard back. Police officers are trained to run toward stimulus. That's noise or movement. On March 20th.
All right. So you heard. So as you heard, that office is not handling the new prosecution, it appears. With this, it jumped circuits. But again, that could work in his favor. I can't see what else could work in his favor. But we shall see. So what we're going to do, folks, is I wanted to get this information out. That's really all we know now. We're going to stay on this case, possibly come back for that press conference and look into what they have to say about this and what got them to announce charges, new charges against him, what led up to this situation. But yeah, this is a big, big deal. Now, will he decide to fight it and go to trial and everything like that? That remains to be seen. Does he have lawyers that can help him with this? Because, you know, he moved away. He's in Arizona. What's going to happen at this point moving forward? But it's going to be very, very interesting for sure. So I appreciate everyone coming in the chat. JLR investigates Barry Morphew arrested. We'll be back later. We'll do follow-ups once the affidavit of probable cause comes out. If a court hearing comes out on him, in press conference, whatever like that, we'll stay on this case and we'll see it go through its entirety. All right, folks, we cover true crime 24/7, 365. Breaking news. You hear it first on JLR Investigates, like always. Stay safe out there, everyone. We'll talk soon. Have a good day, everyone. JLR Investigates.